Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. It's Kathy Head with Do the Local Motion Tampa Bay. We're live down at Metro 510, and Deborah Kaler with Sage Partners is going to give us an amazing tour of this historical location. Well, Deborah, thank you so much for having us here today for the tour. We're so happy to be here and so excited to hear your story.
Well, welcome, Kathy, and we are equally excited to have the Local Motion get our virtual. This is our first ever virtual tour, so I'm very excited about doing that. And I know that you want to know a little bit about our background in Sage Partners, so I'd be happy to share that with you. Sage Partners was formed in 2007, and we were formed solely to do affordable housing, and that's my background and my passion. Before Sage Partners, I developed over 10,000 affordable housing apartment homes throughout the state of Florida with the Wilson Company. And
That's
so
amazing.
that's always been my life's mission. And so when we formed Sage Partners, we wanted to continue that. So now we only have developments here in the Tampa Bay area, and that was intentional because I didn't want to go where I couldn't get to my properties within 30 minutes or less was my challenge, or actually my goal. So we now have Metro 510 that you get to see here today, and then we have 3 high-rises that we serve 62 and better, and I'm almost there. So they're located here, 2 in Tampa and 1 in downtown St. Petersburg.
That is awesome. Can't wait to see the tour and see this amazing facility.
So Metro 510, our affordable housing community here in downtown Tampa. And I just want to share a couple little background stories of how this church was formed. So in 1870, Thomas Warren Long walked from Brooksville. He was a former slave on plantation in Jacksonville. He escaped and he fought for the Union Army for their freedom. And then when the Civil War was over, he said his mission was to do to do AME churches, which St. Paul AME was one of them. So he set up a mission with a thatched hut, and that was right here. And then that obviously over time got more followers, and so they decided to build this church. So they raised funds, and the church was completed in 1914. And I think one of the interesting stories about the church was that they had to raise money, and Madam Fortune Taylor, who is named after Fortune Street, she had done very well owning 30 acres of land in downtown Tampa, and she donated money, and she bought all the baked goods that all the women of the church. So they were doing very creative ways to raise money. But I will tell you, from the architecture side, the interesting story is really has a lot of Moorish or Moroccan architecture that is featured from Africa, which is where obviously many of them came from. In fact, Thomas Warren Long's father was a Zulu warrior. So that's the kind of history that we want to preserve here. So we encourage everybody to come and take this history walk. I'm going to give you kind of just a few highlights, but we call this the Walk of Legends.
Excellent.
So we'll come down here. And so what we have is, along here are all of the names of some of the significant members of the church that the church historian helped me put together. And this is, as I said, the Walk of Legends. We have several history plaques. And this was Reverend S.A. Williams. He is the master developer of the church. So he came and was the architect and the builder of the church. And that was completed again in 1914. So over 100 years old. And this church is, again, standing. But when we bought it, it had trees growing out of the roof and things were falling apart. And so we restored everything. And so now it will definitely be here for the next 100 years. We're going to continue down the Walk of Legends. And on this side, we have all the reverends that served from 1870 to 2010 when we purchased the St. Paul AME. And of course, we already talked about Reverend Thomas Warren Long, who was the one who started with the Brush Harbor Mission in 1870. So you can, I love the name, Reverend John Rabbit Thomas. So you've got a lot of history right here of every reverend that served. And then on this side, what we did is we did plaques to memorialize, the history. And this, of course, is one of my favorite, which is the famous visitors. And that is one thing. You can't capture everybody who's on this, that came here, but the people that we did capture on this plaque, of course, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., as well as Medgar Evers, who was very active in the civil rights movement, and Rosa Parks, of course, everyone knows. Of course, we had Jackie Robinson, who was the first black professional baseball player, which, I mean, he broke a lot of barriers. And then Bill Clinton. When we go upstairs, we'll see where he spoke, but he gave his last speech before he was reelected right here at St. Paul AME. And then, of course, the first black Supreme Court Justice, Thurgood Marshall, he wrote the teacher pay equalization lawsuit right here. So those are the people that we wanted to recognize, but I will tell you one more story that didn't get memorialized here, which is Senator Arthenia Joyner, and we were very fortunate that she joined us on our grand opening in 2011. And she told the story when she was 16 years old, and she came here, and right here, and this is where they met to go through and plan and walk over to Woolworth counter and do the sit-in, and it still gives me chills.
I have chills too.
I know,
I really
chills
do.
as I'm telling you the story, but it was like one of those stories we didn't even realize until she spoke that day, and those are the things that have happened at this church that I think are so central to the community of Tampa. Putting together the history, Jocelyn Walker Sapor, she was a big help to me, especially in trying to capture it. And she was a St. Paul AME church historian. And that's why we wanted to immortalize her and what she said, which was one of St. Paul's greatest statements for history is the grit and determination of the people who banded together and built this great sanctuary at a time which such things seemed impossible. And remember that was built in 1914.
Beautiful courtyard, or what do you call this area?
So this is our courtyard, and this is our spray ground over here. And we did a mosaic that you'll see, and that's got the highlight of there is the skyline of the city of Tampa. And actually, we found a young artist. He was 21 years old at the time. He worked for Disney, and we asked him to put together something that would commemorate Tampa as well as the future, because we feel with all the children that are living here that we are part of the future of Tampa. And so that is what that mural depicts.
It's beautiful. And so the families can just come out here and enjoy the beautiful Tampa weather and all the artwork. Yes. And oh, it's gorgeous, just lovely.
And this is all lit up at night with all the courtyard with LED lights. So they can come out here at night as well. After the children get home from school, Mom will read a book over here and they can play in the spray ground. So it's a very peaceful area. It's one of my favorite areas. Great. So now we're going to go into the church. And this is my favorite part, is to show you what we did during the restoration. And that now this church is dedicated to all of our residents that live here at Metro 510, which is over 360 individuals. And now we call this the Life Center. So this has now been transformed into the Life Center. And the first thing you see, which even I never step on it, even though I can, is that this was was in the Reverend's office. And this safe was there for probably since the church was started, and this is where they keep all of the offerings and everything. So we didn't know exactly what to do with it, and then all of a sudden we decided that we could make it a time capsule. So in 2012, we had lots of people gather here, and those people put things in that would be then opened in 2037. So I'll just give you a couple examples of what's in here, since we're not going to open it right now. But for instance, the Harlem Academy, which we talked about outside in 1964, it was closed, but it was the first school for black children after the Civil War. And we had teachers that taught there that came and bought some of their books that they taught with that are in here, as well as one of the relatives of the first black dentist here in Tampa brought his diploma. So we have that, we have the mayor's key to the city, and we even have one of our residents who's an author brought his first manuscript, and he still lives here today.
When will it be opened?
In 2037. We said 25 years. We would say that would be the time. So hopefully I'm still around.
Absolutely, and a big celebration. That'll be
Oh.
fun to see, because you'll probably have forgotten some of the items that are in there. And,
Oh yes, I mean, the list is like 5 pages long of all the items in there. So yes, I'll be really interested to see the things I forgot were in there. And the other thing right behind you, I just want to show you is we had the day of our grand opening. We have missionary Mary Proctor, who is a renowned folk artist, and her pieces have been featured in the Smithsonian. And so the day of the grand opening, she created this, and with the children helped her put the beads on it that attended our grand opening. But like the people that we just talked about, obviously Reverend Thomas Warren Long, Rosa Parks, Dr. Martin Luther King, Zora Neale Hurston, Harriet Tubman, who was very instrumental in the Underground Railroad, and of course President Bill Clinton and Jackie Robinson. So actually, yeah, she even dates the date, November 2011. That was the day of our grand opening. So very, very special.
Beautiful.
And the other thing that we did is we have one pew is what we kept. These were the pews that were up in the sanctuary that held over 800 parishioners. And this pew we refurbished, and we basically wanted it so that when you first walk in, you remember what this was as a church. But the other interesting thing is the day after we closed, we had all the local churches that we had called and offered them. And so we had people here with pickup trucks and U-Hauls, and all the other pews that were here at this church are now with other churches locally here, and we're very proud to make sure that they will continue to be in use.
That's great.
And the other thing I just wanted to tell you about is obviously we talked about Safe Partners, but we call this our We Wall, and I'm not going to read all these to you, but I just kind of want to highlight a couple that really represent honestly what we do. Obviously, we give to our communities. We love what we do. I hope you can tell that. And we believe in providing our residents with good value. And we're curious about everything and stop by nothing, hopefully. Stop by nothing. And we want to make the world a more comfortable place. And our theme is always together we make it happen.
Well, you certainly do that, because you're so passionate about what you do, and I just think it's amazing.
Oh, well, thank you. We're excited to share this with everybody. This was the fellowship hall, and this is where everyone would meet after church, and they would bring their covered dishes. So now we have this is for our residents, and we call this area Chill. And you can see every morning they can come down and get coffee and danishes. They can do a lot of our residents actually, when they're working from home now, are using this to kind of get away when they're working from home.
It's a great space.
Thank you. And this is where our offices are, as well as we have our fitness center, which we call Energy, so it's not called traditional fitness center. And we have our computer lab we call Knowledge. And then down here, this is where we have movie night down here, as well as movie night outside. And we made the little seats in the form of a heart, because that's what we're all about.
Love it.
All right, I'm going to get to show you my favorite part of our community center, and we call it Fun. So we're going upstairs to Fun, and we're first going to show you our inspiration wall. And these are just various quotes that we hope when people read them that they will be inspired by them.
Oh, wow.
And a couple of quotes that I particularly like, which I think one is very relevant to what we're doing, which is, history never looks like history when you're living through it. And I think we're living through history right now.
Absolutely.
So that's like one of my favorite quotes. Is actually very relevant. And another one that we have is called, "Imagination is the highest kite one can fly." And Lauren Bacall said that. So this was a lot of fun, and this just represents who we are as Safety Partners, is that we like to do things that are different and make an impact, which I hope you'll see that we've done here.
It's awesome.
This is the former sanctuary of St. Paul AME Church. And there's so much history that I'd love to share with you that happened right here. In fact, right here where I stand was where the pulpit, where Dr. Martin Luther King gave one of his first speeches. And actually President Bill Clinton gave his last speech here in Tampa, right here before he was reelected President of the United States. So I encourage you to check that out on YouTube.
just go St. Paul AME, President Bill Clinton, and you will see an amazing time that was right here in the church with the big gospel choir right behind him.
Wow. So how many people would have been here that day?
Well, the church, when it was built, could hold up to 800, and I'm sure that it packed up to 800 that day, for sure.
Absolutely.
And you'll see behind me the balcony, and that balcony had seats in it. We were able to save the seats, and we used those seats over there to be the viewing area for a little stage, because all of this is now set up for the children and the families that live here at Metro 510. And we were able to preserve all of the stained glass windows. We did not lose one window. We took them each out. The far left had actually fallen out, and we were able to save it. This is also, all the windows are lit up at night. So if you drive by here at night, it's really our commitment to public art for the city of Tampa. But you'll be able to see their beauty in the dark. And we also have obviously fun things for the children to do, from the climbing wall to building blocks to a little area where they can read books after school. And so this right now, obviously the kids are in school, so we're seeing a quiet time here. And then behind you, what you're looking at there is our tribute to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. With his famous speech, "I Have a Dream."
Love it. It's beautiful. What a tribute.
We're going to leave the historical and go into the new, the modern. And this is 120 apartment homes that are for workforce housing, affordable housing in downtown Tampa. And I want to show you a particular apartment home that you get to see that's like every other home, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, and point out some of the things that we think are very unique about Metro 510. And we'll start with the artwork. And this is another piece of art that really embodies what we believe, which is living your dreams. And now we're going to access with this key that goes into the apartment, your own apartment home, as well as the reserve. So everything is here. So this is a fun thing I just wanted to point out to you. And this is the downtown shuttle. And this is the first autonomous transit vehicle to be tested on the public roads of Florida. And I want to do a big shout out to the Tampa Downtown Partnership, because they've been responsible for getting the word out. So what you're seeing here is our wall garden. It's all the herbs that our residents use to cook with, and they really tend to it. And so every night if they're cooking, say, spaghetti sauce, they can come out here and pick fresh basil or oregano. But this is something that gives an activity for our residents as well. Now I'm going to show you another place that we have activities, which is we have on nights like this weekend a community movie night. And so the kids can go on here and bring their blankets and their snacks. And we just showed, I think it was The Lion King, part 2 was just shown. But this is our movie wall. And this is our courtyard, and we have 2 courtyards like this with, again, the grass, not real, but it looks real because it does have an interesting little, looks like dead grass in it. But the real part of this is that people can get outside. And we think that's really important, especially in the days we're living in today.
And how many families do you have?
So we have a total of 120 families, which comprise of 360 residents here.
And how many of that are children? Do you know?
Yes, the total number of children, let me make sure I get this statistic right, is we have 65 children.
And is there a waiting list?
Yes, there is a waiting list, but I am going to, at the end, I'll give you our website as well as the rents and the incomes that you would need to qualify. And I think the main point to hit home here is you only have to qualify once. So once you qualify, you can win the lottery, get big promotions, and you never have to move.
That's
and
great.
your rent stays the same.
Wow.
So what you're seeing here is another courtyard, but I think this is my favorite one just because of the view. So you get the perspective of the church and basically the combination of contrast between the new and the old, as well as another affordable housing community right downtown called Vista 400 that we happen to own as well, and that's for the 62 and better. Now, to me, the most exciting part of this virtual tour is that you get to see an apartment home here at Metro 510. And this is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath But everything you see here is in all of our apartments, from the Energy Star GE appliances, the stainless steel appliances, and obviously the glass cooktop, as well as the over-the-range microwave. We have the backsplash that is like one of my favorites because I always like to use the subway tile with under-counter lighting. And you'll see lots and lots of cabinetry. So there's lots of storage, obviously dishwasher. This is if you decide you want to have the kids study right here, or you can have them study at the table. The other part that I like to point out is our flooring. It looks like old barnwood, and it actually feels like old barnwood. But it's very durable, and it lives very well, especially with children. Now I will show you the living area, and then show you the master bedroom, master bath. So the living area, and
there's our resident.
How do you live here, Gabe?
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Well,
it's convenient. It's quiet.
yes.
And it's just a great atmosphere.
Well, we're so happy to have you here, and thank you for letting us see.
Yes,
your
thank you
apartment.
for the
Right.
tour.
Yes. So what we did in the living room area is obviously we wanted to have extra lights, so we have extra large windows. So
I love all the natural light
Yes.
coming in.
And with the plantation, 2-inch plantation shades and blinds. And then we have a setup, it's basically 2 bedrooms with both ensuite bathrooms. So this is the master in here. And it has an oversized, yes, so you can see you can obviously fit a queen, or even people have had king beds in here, and a great place to watch TV. And then we have a oversized walk-in closet that, as you can see here, has setups for even a dresser inside and can still have hanging space into the master bathroom. Because we thought, where is it that you spend your time? You get up in the morning, this is where you spend your time. So we did an extra large vanity, granite vanity with stainless steel sink, and the floating vanity, so it's off the floor, and extra large mirror. And then, as you know, our obsession was subway tile. So this is all tile in every bathroom.
I love Subway.
And as well as in, we have the cast iron tubs as well. And then a little place for your storage for your towels.
So nice. It's very
And then
spacious.
I'll show you, so it's basically also set up for the second bedroom, also has a full-size washer and dryer. That
I've got all my storage.
Right, yes.
Bicycle.
So I'm only going to show you the washer dryer. We won't
Oh,
film
that's
it.
fine.
So here's our washer dryer here. So full-size GE washer dryer.
Wow. So nice.
Yes. And then another bath.
I love the open floor plan and
Well, open
all
floor
the
plan,
lighting.
the high ceilings.
Yes.
Yeah. And the ceiling fans in each room just really set it off, keep it nice and cool. Helps out with your electric bill. 'Cause you can
What
run-
is your electric run a month?
I think mine's running like around 112.
All right. I love it. Thank you so much for showing us. Now, Deborah, to live here, are there income qualifications?
Yes. In order to live here, we do basically verify your income. So I'm just going to give you an example. Family of 4 would be $42,180 annual income. And we verify that when you move in, and it's a one-time qualification. So after you leave and you say, the second year you're renewing, we do not go back and verify. You can stay here and you can basically, I say, win the lottery, get lots of promotions and raises, and your rent never changes.
That's great. Now, what does the rent run for the different units?
Yes, so we have on our 1 bedroom is $718, our 2 bedroom, which is the one that we'll go see, and that one is $851, and then our 3 bedroom 2 bath is $973.
Those are great prices.
And that is about a third of what you would see for a comparable apartment home in downtown Tampa.
Great. So, Deborah, tell us a little bit about the different residents that live here.
Well, as I said before, we're workforce housing, so everybody here basically, I mean, they all have jobs, and the jobs are very interesting. We have, in fact, one is interesting to me is that we have the cellist and a violinist from the Tampa Bay Symphony, and they play at the Straws, which is 2 blocks from here. And we also have people who work in the school system, and they work as assistants in the tech. We have a communication tech person who just moved in yesterday. And we have a lot of people working in the healthcare industry, from working at Tampa General to different outpatient clinics. And I would say, but the most industry that we serve is the hospitality retail. So for instance, like Plato's Closet, Publix as a cashier. We have a manager, assistant manager that works at the Marriott Waterside. Then we also have an author, we have an artist, a tennis instructor.
Nice.
So you can see that basically anybody who meets the qualifications one time, and obviously they can do, as we said, can continue to improve their income and still live here.
And if some of our viewers would like to contact you regarding more information, who would they reach?
So the first, I would say, go to our website, which is metro510.com, and then you can see, lots of pictures and all the different floor plan layouts. And then, of course, call our office, which is 221-0510, which is easy to remember since it's Metro 510.
Perfect. Well, I want to thank you so much for giving us this wonderful tour. You did a fabulous job. And thank you for allowing Do the Local Motion Tampa Bay to come tour the amazing facility. We love it.
Thank you so much.